Ryan Poles was a busy man today, claiming 6 players on the waiver wire and also signing another one to the practice squad. What's going on, guys? I'm back with another Chicago Bears news update video, which I'll be giving you guys this entire Bears season. So if you guys want all the latest Bears updates on what's happening with this team, definitely be sure to subscribe to my channel. But today I'll be talking about the number of waiver wire claims that the Chicago Bears put in. And honestly, I can't remember the last time we put in this many claims for players that were on the waiver wire. Okay, we actually had the most amount of waiver wire claims out of the entire NFL. Okay, there was 33 waiver wire claims awarded. We had 6 of them, so almost like 20% of the waiver wire claims went to us. And we got some damn good talents on the waiver wire, which I am super excited about. Okay, I think this is how you should build a football team if you are Ryan Poles, okay? Because obviously we're not contending for a Super Bowl this year. It's more of a rebuilding, developmental type of year where most of our roster is super young. Okay, we actually have the youngest roster in the entire NFL according to my knowledge, and we overhauled basically most of the roster this season. So it's going to be a rebuilding, developmental type of year where all of our younger guys are going to be, playing a lot, and this is the perfect year to take more swings on young, high upside players like we did through the waiver wire. And we took advantage of our number 7 spot guys on the waiver wire as well, because obviously we had a bad season last year, but that gave us a higher priority to claim some of the top talent that was cut by other teams, and that's exactly what Ryan Poles did today. So let me read you guys a list of all the players that the Bears claimed today. So we got defensive back Josh Blackwell, defensive lineman Kingsley Jonathan, offensive lineman Alex Leatherwood, former first round pick by the way, defensive lineman Arman Watts, linebacker Sterling Weatherford, and tight end Trevin Wesco. Now I'll talk about each of these in detail. I'll start by talking about Arman Watts, the defensive lineman, because guys, we might have gotten a starter week 1 on the waiver wire, and I cannot believe that the Vikings actually let him go. Vikings fans were actually pretty upset they let him go. The only reason why I could find why they let him go is because they switched from a 4-3 scheme to a 3-4 scheme. They hired a new defensive coordinator, Ed Donatel, actually our former secondary coach. He's a new DC there. He's switching the scheme up, and I guess it seems like they did not have a place for him after making that switch, which is pretty surprising because a lot of Vikings fans thought he was going to be starting for them week 1, but they cut him unexpectedly, and the Bears took advantage of maybe a mistake that a fellow division rival made. We can't say if it was a mistake for sure without seeing Arman Watts play with the Chicago Bears, but I'm telling you guys, he could be starting week 1 next to Justin Jones in the interior of this defensive line. Okay, if I read you guys his stats from last year, so he's only 26 years old right now. Last year was his age 25 season, so still relatively young. He was a former 6th round pick, and last year he had a breakout season. So he started 9 games, played in 17. He had 2 forced fumbles, 5 sacks, 46 total tackles, 3 tackles for loss, 10 QB hits, and also 33 quarterback pressures. Okay, he was a monster rushing the passer on the interior of the Vikings defensive front. He also had a really impressive game last year against the 49ers. Okay, the team that were playing in only 11 days. So having him as a starter on this defensive line, that could be helpful because he already destroyed this offensive line last year single-handedly. He had a really impressive game going up against the Niners. I saw some highlights, and man, he was getting into the backfield consistently, putting pressure on Jimmy Garoppolo basically every single play. So this is a guy that, like I said, is still relatively young. He's only 26 years old, only had a breakout season last year, so definitely on the upswing of his career. And maybe this could be, I'm getting ahead of myself right now, but it could be maybe an Akeem Hicks level signing at the high end. Okay, taking a swing on a player that kind of got cut unexpectedly, like Akeem Hicks was kind of unexpectedly cut by the Saints, getting a chance somewhere else and getting a chance on a team that is super young right now, but a team that does need the defensive line help. And this guy, is the perfect fit, I think, in Eberflus's 4-3 scheme. Okay, he has long arms, he has good enough quickness to shoot the gap, and playing probably nose tackle, okay, next to 3 technique, Justin Jones, he could be a solid contributor for the Bears this year. So really love this pickup, especially coming from a division rival. Okay, we can make them pay, we can make the Vikings pay twice a year for letting him fall to us. So that was pretty nice. Next, talking about Alex Leatherwood, okay, former first round pick by the Las Vegas Raiders by the last regime, pick number 17. Okay, pick number 17 just a year ago. That was a reach at the time, but he was still viewed as like a 2nd or 3rd round prospect at the very latest. Very talented guy coming out of Alabama, very athletic guy who was still only 23 years old, that I feel like the Raiders gave up on way too fast. Now obviously I know that he did struggle a lot with that team last year, both at right tackle and also playing at right guard. Okay, he was drafted to be a right tackle, didn't do well there at all. Switched to right guard, still had some struggles, but I do feel like his confidence got shattered by the last regime. Okay, Mike Mayock and John Gruden put way too much pressure on him to be a starting right tackle drafted in the first round when he was not even supposed to be a first round pick. He was super talented, but a lot of people viewed him as a guard, going in the second round, which the Raiders just completely screwed up on. That's obviously why, that regime is not in power anymore in Las Vegas. But this gives the Bears a really talented young guy that, although has had a lot of struggles so far in his career on the offensive line, he has an incredible amount of raw athletic potential, and if coached up properly, if developed properly, which he'll actually have the chance to develop in Chicago because there won't be as many expectations on him. Okay, it's going to be a backup at the beginning of his Bears career. This could be turning into an absolute steal by Ryan Poles. Okay, basically getting him for free when another team spent a first round pick on him. So giving you guys more information about this guy, so you can see his RAS, his relative athletic score, is super high. He was one of the most athletic prospects in the entire class, which is why I think that John Gruden completely reached on him. Mike Mayock reached on him in the first round, which was not the right decision because he still had a lot of learning, a lot of growing to do, which they did not allow him to do. But you can see, guys, 40-yard dash, elite, can move pretty fast. 20-yard split, 10-yard split, also elite, very explosive player. Has pretty quick feet, is not the biggest player, but from an athletic standpoint, okay, one of the more athletic, especially guards in the NFL. Okay, if we are going to be moving him to guard full time, he is going to be one of the best athletes at that position, and there's a lot to coach up here. I mean, at Alabama during his senior year, he won the Outland Trophy as the best offensive lineman in the entire country. Okay, and 1 year later, the Raiders already have given up on him completely. Like, that doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I know he struggled there with the Raiders, but I feel like he just needed a change of scenery somewhere else where he doesn't have as many high expectations, where he can develop at his own pace. Because the Bears don't need him to be a starter right now. We already have, Cody White here at left guard. We have Tevin Jenkins at right guard. So he will be a backup if he is indeed a guard. And that gives him time to work with the coaches on his technique, on his fundamentals, to get, his confidence back up and running. And guys, this might be a player that maybe next year could be competing for a starting spot. Okay, maybe a left guard. Cody White here is going to be 31 years old. So he's getting up there in age. And maybe, if Leatherwood does develop properly, he could be starting for us eventually, and he would be an absolute steal if he does. But if he doesn't work out, guys, the Bears don't have much to lose. Okay, he's only getting paid $2 million per year for the rest of his rookie contract, which the Bears can easily afford. Okay, we have more than enough money to go around the next few years, and that's not a problem at all. So I think that taking a swing on a younger guy like this that still has so much potential that we got basically for free, that made all the sense in the world for Ryan Poles. So I absolutely love that move as well. Talking next about the linebacker, Sterling Weatherford from the Colts. Okay, a lot of Colts fans and even their GM, Chris Ballard, were not happy that the Bears claimed him. Okay, Chris Ballard said today in his interview that Sterling Weatherford getting claimed was a hard one and that the team liked him. Love to hear that another team, another GM is maybe regretting letting a talented young player go, because that means the Bears got a good one, potentially for free. Okay, we didn't have to use a draft pick on him. We didn't have to trade anything for him either. We just claimed him for free. And this is another freak athlete that, some Bears fans actually wanted in the draft. Okay, I saw a lot of mock drafts that had Sterling Weatherford being mocked to the Bears, and he used to be a safety back in college at Miami of Ohio, but he played linebacker for the Colts in preseason, so I'm not totally sure where the Bears current front office views him, but I think he will be a linebacker for us as well, because he is massive. Okay, 6'4", weighs 224 pounds at linebacker. Like, that's a good size for a backer, and he also has the skills and the speed of a safety, which makes him such a unique, versatile weapon on this defense. Especially in today's NFL, you need linebackers that can cover, that can move, and this guy is a linebacker with the speed of a safety, which is pretty insane. And in the preseason, he had a very nice performance for the Colts. Okay, all the 3 games that he played. So with the Colts guys in preseason, he had 18 tackles, an interception, and a pass breakup too. So pretty good production in the time that he got with the Colts, which is why, a lot of Colts fans were mad to let him go. And obviously, I think he will be a backup for the Bears at the beginning of his Bears career, but this is a guy that we can develop, that we can put, in the system, and maybe eventually could be a nice contributor for the Chicago Bears. Moving to the next guy, we got another freak athlete defensive lineman. Okay, this one, Kingsley Jonathan. He went to Syracuse. He was undrafted, signed with the Bills. The Bills let him go. But he had a pretty nice preseason performance. Okay, 5 pressures on 39 pass rushing snaps. And if you guys look at his RAS, relative athletic score, another really talented athlete. Okay, and Eberflus has stressed how important, explosive defensive linemen are going to be in this scheme. And we're adding a lot of them, okay? And hopefully at least one of them, at least a couple of them, can turn into something special. So nice defensive line project here. We also signed a defensive back, Josh Blackwell. He's a UDFA out of Duke. He signed with the Eagles, but the Eagles have made, you know, a lot of additions to their defensive back room over the offseason. So it kind of left him on the outside looking in to make the team, but has a lot of talent, guys. Okay, a really fast player, ran a 4.3 for 40-yard dash. So another really fast, really explosive corner that is pretty fluid, pretty instinctual. Probably not going to start for the Bears anytime this year, but a good depth corner to have, okay, because especially after, you know, Tavon Young and Thomas Graham both did not make the 53-man roster, you know, we needed help at the cornerback spot, and he could be a backup nickel corner. I still think we have to add another outside corner because right now it's only, you know, Kindle Vildor, Lamar Jackson. You know, Kyler Gordon is more of a slot right now. Could be playing outside too in base formations, but, you know, I like adding another depth corner like this because you can never have too many good cornerbacks, talented cornerbacks, I should say, on the team. And then finally, the last guy that we claimed, Trevon Wesco, tight end. He was with the Jets the last 3 years. He was actually drafted in the 4th round in 2019. Didn't really contribute too much though for the Jets besides being a blocking tight end. Okay, he played in 40 games but only caught 6 passes for 87 yards. In college, he was actually a tight end fullback hybrid, okay, out of West Virginia. So more of a blocking type of tight end that in this scheme, you know, if he's on the field, he's only going to be blocking for the Chicago Bears. But those are all of our waiver wire claims. Talking about the one guy that we signed to practice squad, we also signed a bunch of other guys to practice squad, which I'll make a post about, which were mostly our own guys that we just let go, you know, yesterday. But we added a new guy, Kellen Dyche, okay, an offensive lineman, offensive tackle actually, from Arizona State. Had a really nice college career, very athletic too, one of the more athletic offensive linemen available in this year's class. He's 6'7", weighs 301 pounds, very long, very, you know, explosive, I would say, as an athlete. And at Arizona State, he only allowed 3 sacks and 8 pressures and 568 total pass rushing snaps. So a really solid college career, another high upside player to develop on the offensive line, and I absolutely love it. Okay, take as many swings as you can on the offensive line because you can never have too much offensive line depth. But those are all the new players that we claimed or signed today. A lot of new guys. We also cut some players, which I'll make a post about on my community tab. We didn't cut anybody too major, but this video is getting kind of long, so I'm gonna stop it right here. But let me know what you guys think about these signings, these claims, in the comments down below. Which player are you most excited about? But hope you guys enjoyed the video. As always, bear down.